Very good afternoon, student. Welcome to AMC Engineering College. I am Shavita Brat Bhattacharya, and today I am going to take you through a fun lesson. It will be a lot of learning, but in a fun way. So, we are going to learn programming or coding in this session and in a very fun way. Okay, so let's jump into our coding class today. So, let's see what we have got. Yeah. So our today's topic is fun with coding. Okay. So my name is Shavita Brat Bhattacharya. I'm from ECE department in your beloved AMC Engineering College. Okay. So let's yeah. So begin. Let's begin. So our today's topic is code for fun. Okay, so today we are going to see three topics. First, we are going to make a very beautiful pattern using a very small software called Scratch. Okay, this is an absolutely free software which is available on the internet. You just need to have a laptop or a computer and an internet connection. That's all, nothing else. Okay, it is completely free software and you don't need any high configurations of computer for that, just a free software. Then also we are going to learn pattern making, the same design making, using another software called REPL.IT, which is also a free software available on the internet itself. And we are going to learn the most promising language of our times, that is Python. And we are going to use that Python language to make a beautiful design. Okay, so you are going to love it, I know. And last of all, last but not the least, we are going to develop a game. So, aren't you interested? So, we are going to develop the game called Snakes, which we always used to play in our childhood days using the mobile phone. So, there will be a snake which will be roaming around the scheme, and it is going to eat up some food items available for it. As and when it eats up the food, its size is going to increase, and if it touches the edges of the screen, it is going to die, and if it touches its own body, it is also going to die. We are also going to develop this game using the same software called Scratch. Okay, so we are going to learn two softwares, that is Scratch and REPL.IT in this session, and we are going to learn one programming language called Python. So let's jump into it. Yeah, so our first topic today is pattern making using Scratch. So for that, we are going to use the software called Scratch. So for that, you can directly Google the term Scratch, SCRATCH on Google, or you can, in the address bar, you can type in scratch.mit.edu. Okay, both way you are going to land up to the website I am showing you. Okay, let me share the website with you first. So, yeah, so this is the website you are going to land up when you type in scratch.mit.edu. Okay, so here there are two options, as you can see: join Scratch and sign in. First, if you haven't entered Scratch earlier, and once again, then what you need to do is click on this link called Join Scratch. When you click on this link, Join Scratch, it is going to ask you a username. You have to create a username by your own name or some other name, any name you can give. Okay, that is not mandatory. Here you have to give a password and confirm your password, then click on next. And when you click on next, it is going to ask some of your details like your age, your date of birth, etc., and then it is going to ask your email ID. So after filling up the user ID and mail, etc., you are going to get the username created and the password created for the Scratch. So then what you need to do is to, after the creation of your account, you need to go to this page and click on sign. Okay, so already I have an account in Scratch. That's why I'm not again joining. I'm just signing in. You first have to join the Scratch, then sign in. Okay, so let's click on sign in, and here you need to type in your user ID. I am typing mine. You can have any username. Okay, then I am typing my password. What happened? My password is showing invalid. Let's see. Okay, so when you sign in, you are going to come to a screen which is just like this. Okay, so after that, you need to click on this create button. But before clicking this create button, let me show you what we are going to do today. Okay, whatever project you make using your sign in icon, using the Scratch window, everything is going to saved in the computer itself, in the net itself. Okay, here is the portion, this folder you can see, this is called my stuff. Okay, when you click on this my stuff icon, you are going to see whatever you have created earlier. Okay, either you save it or not save it, it is always going to be saved in it. Okay, so it has an auto save feature, so you no need to worry about saving the stuff which you are making. Okay, so let's see what we are going to create today. Let's maximize it and see. Let's click. See, we are going to create this beautiful pattern using this software called Scratch and a little bit of coding. Isn't it beautiful? Not only this, we are going to create many more patterns using this software. Okay, so let's start. So first up, you go back and click on this icon called Scratch. So when you click on Scratch, you are coming to this login screen. Just after you logged in into Scratch, you are going to come to this screen. And here you will find an icon called Create. So just press on this Create icon. So when you press on this Create icon, you are going to come to this screen. Here there are three portions. This portion consists of blocks of code. There are a lot of blocks of code. I'm just now going to tell you what are blocks of code. Okay, so here you can see a number of blocks of code are available here. Okay, this portion is this middle portion is the region where you write down your code, or rather drag and drop the code blocks into this portion. So this is the portion of the coding region, and the towards the right hand side, the region is the region where you see the output. Okay, so here you can see a cat, an animated cat is there, a cartoon cat. This is the character by default, this is the default character of Scratch. Okay, first of all, we are going to delete this character. Before deleting, let me show you how we are going to code it. Okay, so here in the block section, you can see the motion. So here is a code called move 10 steps. So you don't need to write anything. You just drag and drop it. Okay, like this. You drag any code from here to here. This is how it is going to work. Let's say I am move 10 steps, it is written. I am going to double click on it and see the cat is moving. You want to move it more, you type in say 100 and double click. See, the cat is moving 100 steps. Okay, now you want to make it come back, so I am typing minus 100. So see, it is coming backwards. Now let's say I want to turn this cat. Okay, so let's say I move it to 100 steps and turn it by, let's say, 90 degree. Click it, see, it goes 100 steps and turn 90 degrees. Then I want it to turn in the anti-clockwise direction by, let's say, 60 degree. So see, you turn it totally. So in this way you can use to code the cat or any character which you place here. So let's delete this one, we don't need it. So just drag and drop here, it will go away. Okay, so now we don't need a cat here, we are going to use another character, that is a pencil, as you've seen in the uh, example which I have shown you earlier. So for deleting this cat, here you see there is the small mark of this cat with a dustbin sign. This is actually the characters in Scratch software are actually called sprites. So this is the sprite one. You can have many sprites or different characters in the same project. So first of all, we are going to delete this. So for deleting, click on this basket here, and this sprite is empty now. Okay, so now first up what we are going to do is give our project some name. Okay, and you don't need to save it every time. It is having an autosave feature, and whenever you click on this folder icon, you will be redirected to the my stuff section and you will get your project intact there. So you need not worry about saving. Okay, so let's name our project something. Let's say it is pattern making. I already have a pattern making, as you have seen. I have shown you the example. So let's name, I am naming it as pattern making 2. You can name it only pattern making. Okay, so you named it. Now we are going to start modifying our project. So for that, you come to this bottom right corner and you see an icon like a cat head with a plus icon. Okay, here is the, and when you go over this point, you get a link called choose a sprite. Okay, you click on choose a sprite and you see a lot of characters are there. All these are called sprites, but we don't need all this. We need just a pencil. So type it pencil. You don't need to type the whole pencil. As in when you write pen, it is going to give you this pencil. You click on it and this pencil is available on our screen. So now what we are going to do, we are going to create that pattern using this pencil. But this pencil actually doesn't write anything. It is just a character. Okay, so to make it a writable pencil, what we need to do is come to bottom left corner. Here you see in the bottom left corner there is an icon called add extension. Okay, so I am clicking on add extension and the screen is redirecting me to a lot of new functionalities. Here you can see we are going to click on the second functionality called pen, draw with your sprites. So just click it and here a few more code blocks are available to us. Okay, so what we are going to do is make this a writable pen. For that we are going to use the block called pen down. You just move the block to the screen. Okay, now it has become a writable pen. So however we move this pencil, it is going to draw its mark on it. Okay, so for that let's check. So go to motions and bring in move 10 steps. Let's make it move 100 steps. 10 is very small actually. So move 100 steps. So you click here and see the pen is marking as it moves 100 steps, it is marking the line. Okay. Now if we want to make a triangle, what we need to do? Move this some steps and then turn by some angles. A triangle, we are starting with an equilateral triangle. It has 3 angles of 60 degree each, but we are not going to consider the internal 60 degree angle. If we consider the external angle made by the triangle, that is 120 degree. So we are going to bring in this turn icon, turn clockwise, and change this angle to 120 degree and do this thing what you have seen now 3 times, then we are going to get a triangle. Okay, so let's do copy this and duplicate it. Again duplicate 3 times. Now click on the first one and you see a triangle is forming. Here you see a triangle is forming. The triangle is actually gone a little bit further away. So to make the triangle in the center, we are bringing this pencil. Just drag the pencil to here and you see a triangle is formed. Okay. So, but it is a repetition to do the same steps 3 times. So what we are going to do is use an important concept of computer science called loop. Okay. So for that, we are going to repeat this. We are going to delete these duplications by just creating delete block. You select all of this and just need not just delete it, just click it here and drag it back and it will be deleted automatically. So for getting the loop, you are going to click on this orange colored control block. Click control and bring in this repeat 10 times here and place it in such a way that every block comes inside this block. But how many times do we need to repeat? It is only 3 times so that it forms a triangle. So you see a triangle is forming. You drag the pencil anywhere and just click on it, the triangle is forming. Okay, so this is the basic shape we wanted to draw. Now you see already there are so many drawings present in the screen. So what do you like? We should rub these things. So for rubbing, what you need to do is go to this pen and click in this erase all and put it in the first, so that everything which you have drawn earlier is going to delete before drawing the next drawing. Okay, so just click it on and see everything is drawn, deleted, and a new triangle is formed. Okay, but this triangle is so much forming haphazardly in different regions. You see wherever you put the pencil. So we have to give an initial position to the pen or pencil. Okay, so for that, go to motions again and bring in, go to X, Y position. Okay, you need to set an initial position for the pen. Okay, and erase all should be before that. Okay, you erase everything before that. So before you erase everything, after that go to an initial position. Okay, let's make the initial position as 0. 0 in X, 0 in Y. Okay, so now double click here and see what's happening. You see the triangle is formed at the center. Every time wherever you take the pencil, whenever you click this one, it is going to come back and start at 0, 0. Okay, see. Okay, so this is how we are going to draw. So a triangle is formed, that is beautiful, no problem, but we don't need to click every time on the code itself. We can, if we have to click on the code itself, we can't maximize the drawing. So for that, we are going to use this green flag. There is an event here. You can see that in the events block, there is a block called when green flag is clicked. So if you bring in that and put it at the top, now you see when you click on this green flag, the event is happening. Okay, so this is our basic code which is ready for making a triangle. Okay, now what we need to do, if just a triangle is not enough, you have seen we have repeated a basic shape to form our design. Okay, so what we need to do is repeat this formation of triangle again and again. Okay, so this part, when green flag clicked, erase all, go to 0, 0, this is the initial part. So you remove that one from this repetition and bring one repeat again. Okay, so go to controls once again and bring this repeat 10 times and put everything inside here and then put it here. Okay, but 10 times is very small. Let's make it large. Let's make it 90 times. Now click it. See, the same triangle is forming again and again. So it is nothing of a pattern. Okay, so what we need to do is that this triangle is slightly rotated, then again it is starts forming, so that many triangles are formed in a circular fashion and we get a pattern. So for this, what we are going to do is go to motions again and bring this turn by 15 degrees below the triangle loop, that is the inner loop, but inside this repeat 90. And we are going to make this 15 a little smaller so that triangles are closely packed. Let's make it 5 degrees. Okay, now see what happens. See, you can see a pattern is forming on the screen. Okay, so isn't it looking good? It is like our Ashok Chakra, isn't it? But if it is in a single color, it is not looking that beautiful. Don't you think? If you remove this pencil from here, you can see the circle. Okay, but it is not looking that good. So you can change the size of the circle by increasing this move 100 steps. You make this move 100 steps to move 150 step and see what happens. Stop it once and run it again. Yeah, you can maximize it by clicking this icon and see the triangle, the pattern on a bigger screen. But this pattern is good, but it is in only single color. We want some multiple colors. So for that, what we need to do is change the color of the pen every time it rotates. So for that, go to this pen icon again and see there is a block called change pen color by 10. You put this just below turn 5 degrees. Just put this below and see what happens. Now you again click on this green flag. Now you see what's happening. You can maximize it and see. It is forming a beautiful colored pattern. Okay. Now, what else can you do with it? Now you see this code is beautiful, but we can do many more things using it. Let's see what else we can do. If you can do like this, you see this internal loop is giving you the basic shape. Okay, I'm just removing this internal loop for now so that I can make you understand what is happening in there. Remove all this here and erase it so that the screen is blank. So now the screen is blank. Now I'm going to show what this internal loop can do. Okay, you see this internal loop is forming a triangle if this repeat is 3 times and this angle is 120. If you change this 3 to 4, this 3 is actually representing the number of sides and the angle is nothing but 360 divided by the number of times, number of sides. Okay, so if you change this 3 to 4 and change this to 360 divided by 4, that is 90. Let's see what's happened. So you get a square here now. Okay, you can remove the earlier drawing and start it fresh by clicking this erase. Now see, a square is forming. Okay, so same thing what you can do, change this 4 to 5 and change this angle by 360 by 5. That comes out to be 72. Okay, see what happens. Again erase everything. Yeah, now do it. See, a pentagon is formed. Okay, you can come here this side, erase all, erase. Yeah, stop it. Now make this repeat as 6, that is 6 sides, and 360 divided by 6 comes out to be 60. So sorry for that. You make it 60 and see it is a hexagon form. Okay, you can change the size so that you can see the hexagon properly. Let's say it is 50 sides. Okay, so that will be smaller. First delete it. Now stop it. Then see a hexagon is formed. Okay, so actually by changing the repeat of this inner loop and the angle is nothing but 360 divided by the repeat, that is the number of sides. You can get different shapes. Okay, now I also see you something more. Let's see what else we can do. You erase it first. Yeah, stop it. Now see, if I make, let this be 100 size, make this 5, and for pentagon we have seen that the angle should be 72 degree, but in spite of 72, if I make this as 144, let's see what happens. So you see what is happening. You can create a star as well by manipulating the angle and the sides. Here you can make the star bigger, make it 150, erase everything, erase it. Now stop. Now you see star is formed. Okay, so you can create a star easily. If it is not visible, let me show you once again. Yeah, now see. So you see a star is formed by just manipulating the turning and repeating. Now let's get back to our previous code, that is repeat 3 times, and this is 100 steps, and the turning angle is 360 by 3, that is 120 degree. Now you put it back inside our repeat loop, that is first inside this loop, then below that the color, the code for the changing color. Okay, so it is just previously as it was making a triangle, it is doing the same thing. Okay, now what we are going to do now, see, if we change this inner loop, so the inner shape is going to change as I have already shown you. So make the sides as 4 and this turning angle as 90 degree. Okay, and see what happens. See, so don't you think another beautiful pattern is forming by just changing the internal loop from triangle to square? You can see it in a big screen as well. Here you see the square is forming a beautiful pattern. Okay, you can change that as well. You make this 4 to 5 and this angle to 72, that is 360 divided by 5 is 72. Now see what happens. You see the pattern is forming using a pentagon. So see, by changing the internal shape, you can select and create many other different patterns. Okay, isn't it wonderful? What else you can do? Yeah. So one more thing I'm going to tell you is, let's make this. Yeah, let's make this hexagon once again, 6, and for hexagon it is 60. And let's make this a little bit smaller so that it fits in our screen. Let's say it is 75. Okay, size, maximize it and run it. So now the basic shape is hexagon and one another pattern is forming. So these are repeating polygons only, that is regular polygons are repeated and a pattern is formed. Now I have also shown you how to make a star. What will happen if we make in a star inside and repeat it like a circle? See what happens. make this size as 5 and make this 100 itself and change the turning angle to 144 degrees. Maximize it and run it. So you see the star is repeated many number of times. So that's not all. You can make many more patterns. Let's make the star size a little bit bigger so that you can see a better pattern. Let's say make it 200 and maximize it. Now run it. So you see a very beautiful pattern is forming. So I will stop the discussion of scratch pattern making here only so that we can move to our next topic, that is same pattern making, different pattern making, but using a different professional language called Python. And we are going to use a different software, entirely different software, and entirely different coding technique, not this block based, but typing techniques, typing and coding using Python. So I am stopping this scratch project here and let's see what we can do using Python. Next, we are going to see the same thing called pattern making, but this time we are going to use a professional software or a professional programming language called Python. Okay. So Python is one of the most used programming language of today's modern day. So we are going to see how that programming language can also be utilized for having some fun and making some patterns. Okay. So for that, we are also going to use an online coding software called REPL.it. You can just Google it down and type REPL.it and find out the software, or otherwise you can just type in, as I have written here, https repl.it. So this is the link you can see, or you can Google it down, either way. Okay, it is going to do the same thing only. So I am going to click on here and it is going to redirect me to the screen called REPL.it. So let's share the screen with you so that you can know where I have boarded. So let's come here. Yes. So here is the screen. When you click on REPL.it, you are going to come to this screen. Here are also those two options. One is sign up, one is login. When you come to the screen first time, you are going to click on sign up. Okay. So when you click on sign up, you can create your username, give your email ID, give a password, then sign up, or you can use this Google icon to use a Google account to sign up. Okay, so I have already signed up, and I'm going to use the sign in option and use my Google account only. Okay, so I'm going back to the earlier screen, that is this one, and I'm just going to click on login. I'm going to use my Google account, so that's why I'm clicking on this Google icon. I have some Google accounts, you see, so I'm going to click on this first one and it is going to redirect me to the REPL screen. Okay, so this is the screen where you come to when you have clicked on the sign in option. Okay, so now what you need to do, first thing is you're going to click on this icon on the left top corner called new REPL, plus new REPL. Yes, you see, this is plus new REPL. Click on it and there are two options you can see. They will ask you to choose the language which you want to use. Okay, so all the basic languages, whatever the languages are, Almost all of them are available to use in REPL software. So you can see, drag in this icon and see so many languages are available. But we are going to use Python here. We can use the basic Python, but because we are using some graphics option, we are going to use Python with Turtle. Okay, see, Python with Turtle. Turtle is actually a library in Python which helps us draw some graphical figures. Okay, so we are going to use Python with Turtle. Now, what is a library of Python? I am going to tell you shortly. Okay, so let's do it, and you give a name to your project. Let's say here we are naming pattern making, same thing but using Python. Okay, and now click on create REPL. So as you click on create REPL, it will take some time and a window like this will open up. Here you see there are two parts. One part, actually there are three parts. Okay, 1, 2 and 3. This part on the left hand side is the portion where you type in the code. Here is no dragging and dropping available. Here you have to type all the code. That is how professional programmers work. Okay, so you need to type in the code here, and when you click on this run button at the center here, you can see the program is going to run and the output is going to show up in this white portion on the right hand side. If your program is only text based, the output is going to show up in this black window below. If it is having graphics, it is going to show up in this white window. Let's see how it is going to work. Okay, so first up, there are some basic syntaxes of Python. I'm not going to go very much into the detail so that you get bored up. So let's see what we can do here. So first up, we are going to import one library. Now, what is a library? As in real library, you see there are a lot of books and you pick up the particular book which you want to read. Similarly, a lot of code has already been written by Python programmers and stored in libraries. So there are different type of libraries available. You pick any library and all the functions in that library can be used by you. So I am going to use a graphical based library called the library Turtle. Okay, so before using that library, you need to import that library. So for that, you need to write a code called import the library name. So I am going to use the library called Turtle. So I am writing Turtle. So Turtle is nothing but a graphical oriented library which helps us draw various shapes. Okay, so let's see how we can use it. So after initializing, first thing what we need to do is but after importing it, first thing we need to do is create a variable using this Turtle library, and inside that Turtle library we are going to use a function called Turtle that is having the same name but it starts with a capital T. Okay, so let's see the format. So our variable name is called T, which is equal to, I'm assigning it to the Turtle function. Now see how it is happening. I'm not dwelling very much into the deeper concepts. Just understand how I'm working on it. Okay, so that your interest is maintained. So you write in Turtle dot same Turtle with a capital T and put a parenthesis like this. Okay, so what this code does is creates a variable named T from the library Turtle, and which is using the function Turtle with capital T. Basically what this code is going to do is create a pointer or an arrow mark. Okay, that arrow key is going to move around the screen and create different structures on the screen. and we are going to control that arrow key. So to understand better, let's see what is going to happen. Okay, so let's say I am writing T dot forward. Okay, and keeping a bracket here, this is actually a function which is using the object which you have created, that is called T. So let's say I am writing forward 100. Okay, so now we run it and let's see what happens. You see, this is a arrow key which is formed when we created this variable called T. This is actually called an object, okay, of the class turtle, that is capital T. Okay, so we are using a function forward to move this pointer 100 steps forward. Okay, now let's say we want to make the same triangle using this turtle function or this pointer. So what we need to do is turn this turtle by 120 in clockwise direction. So I am going to add in another code, T dot, let's say right, because we want to move it in clockwise direction. So right, and see what happens. This turns, oh sorry, we haven't given how much we want to turn it. So make it a parenthesis, that is the symbol for function, and give it 120. Okay, now run it. See, it is turning by 120 degrees. Now if I want to rotate this, because we want to make a triangle, the same way we have to repeat this 3 times. So copy it down, press enter and paste it, press enter and again paste it. Now run it. See what's happening? A triangle is formed. Okay, so if we want to change the speed of this pointer, we can use that also by using another function called T dot speed. This is very easy, as in English language you are writing. Okay, so let's type in the speed as 5. Okay, let's see, its speed is increased. Now if you change this value to 1, you will see the speed is decreased. Here you see it has become so slow. Okay, so this is how it is working. Now we don't need so slow a cursor. Let's make this to 5 only. Okay, and this as you have seen that for repeating some sentences, we don't write the same code again and again. We make it inside a loop. So we are going to do that here as well. Okay, so let's do that. Delete the code which is repetition. Press delete, and for making a triangle, we need to repeat these 2 steps 3 times. So the format for repeating or forming loop here is using there are many loops. We are going to discuss about one of them, that is the for loop. So the syntax is like this: for, let's say x is the variable which is going to be repeated, x in range. Because we are going to repeat it 3 times, you have to write the number 3 here. Then to finish the loop, you have to give a colon symbol, and you bring this 2 lines, just cut it and press an enter here, so that this cursor comes just below for, and paste it. Okay, you have to make this indentation change. Okay, so this 2 lines of text should be below this for, not with line with the for. This is called the indentation, so that it seems that these 2 lines are inside this loop. Okay, so for that, this is called the indentation. These 2 lines are inside this loop. That's why they are starting one tab after this. Okay, so let's see what's happened now. So you see the same code is repeated here, but without repeating the same code again and again, we have used the for loop and repeated it 3 times. Okay, so if you want to draw other shapes, what you need to do? Same thing. If you want it to form a square, you change this range to 4 and change this angle to how much? 90 degree. Okay. Now see what happens. Just run it. So it's forming a square. Similarly, see some other shapes. Let it be hexagon 6 and let it be how much? 60 degree. That is 360 by 6. Just run it. Hexagon. If you want a bigger one, so make this range, let's say 12 and change this 360 by 12. How much? 30. 312 is 36. So it should be 30. Okay. Now run it and see what happens. So it is forming a polygon having 12 sides. Okay. So isn't it fun? So I'm not going to repeat so many big sizes. Let's also check the star which we have already made. You remember? So here what is the range is 5, but in spite of 72 degrees, we are going to make this angle as 144. See, a beautiful star is formed. Now, what we are going to do is make a pattern using these basic shapes. So I am going to start with triangle itself. Okay, so for triangle, this was the size. Triangle is forming. Now we are going to form a spiral using this triangle, so that this triangle starts with a small one and starts and ends up increasing and increasing in size and becoming a spiral of triangles. So for that, what we need to do is, let's say I want to repeat this 20 times. Okay, so I am repeating this 20 times and changing this value by 10, changing the forward movement by 10 each time. That is, let's say first I'm going to move 10 steps, then I'm going to move 20 steps, then I'm going to move 30 steps. How we can do that? By multiplying this x, which is the repeating counter, to this one. Okay, just I have multiplied that x with this repeating counter here. Okay, so let's see what's happening now. You see, a spiral pattern of triangles is forming. Each time the length of the sides is getting increased by 10 because we have multiplied the counter x with 10 and started moving it forward by 10 steps. Okay, so this is how we get a spiral of triangles. So if you want to make this a spiral of squares, you don't need to do anything, just change this angle only. Make it to 90 degrees and see, it is forming a triangle of squares. Okay, same thing. You change it to how much? You change it to, let's say, okay, I will do one more. Hexagon. You see, it is repeating in hexagon. Okay, now let's see the star one again, because that looks very beautiful. So for making the star, you have to make this angle as 144. So let's see what happens. So the star is forming from small to big. Okay, you can change this number of times the star occurs. Let's make it 100 so that you get many stars and a big pattern forms. And change the speed. Let's say I change the speed to 100 so that the star pattern is formed quickly, because 100 is a large number of steps. Okay, so let's do it. So see, it is forming very fast and a pattern of star is formed. But we don't like it in black only. We need some color change. So how can we make the color change as we have done in Scratch itself? So for that, we are going to do something else. Let's come back to our previous pattern so that we can show it from the basics. So the speed I am making to 5 back, the number of steps I am making to 20, and this here to how much? For triangle it is 120 only. So just come back and make it that only. Run it once so that that triangle is formed, so that we know we are back to our basics. Okay. So now we are going to change the color. For that, we are going to need another library called the random library. This is random is also a library which is available with Python, which deals with random numbers. That concept you are going to see in your mathematics classes. What is a random number? Is a number which is picked randomly. Okay, so we are going to use this random library to add some color. How we can get some color? Let's see. We are going to add in another function called color to our object called t, and we are going to give it three variables or three arguments. Whatever you write inside the bracket of a function are called arguments. So we type in three arguments called R, G, and B. What is RGB? RGB are three primary colors called red, green, and blue. Now we are going to assign the values of R, G, and B randomly so that this color changes randomly. All the components, red, green, and blue of the color component changes randomly and makes it a beautiful spiral. So let's see how we can do that. Just inside this for loop, we are going to assign a variable called R and give it, let me write it first, then I'm going to explain it to you. I'm writing random dot rand int, and then I'm writing 0, 255. So now what this code is going to do, this code is nothing but we are using the random library and the function called randint. So random is the library name, then we put a dot operator so that we can understand we are going to use a function from the library called random. So the function name is randint. What is randint? It is going to generate a random integer, but you have to give the range in which it will generate the random integer. Now we have a range of colors available. So 0 to 255 are all ranges of red. Okay, so we are going to select any shade of red between 0 to 255 that will be randomly selected. Similarly, we are going to select the shades of green randomly from 0 to 255 and the shades of blue randomly from 0 to 255. So just copy this code, copy it, press enter and paste it below and make this red to green, G. Okay. Now again press enter and paste and change this R to B. Okay. So three colors RGB are selected randomly and put in our color variable, and that is assigned to the object T. Okay. So let's see what happens now. Just run it and see. You see, with this small amount of code, it is generating a colorful spiral. If you change this number from 20 to let's say 100 and change the speed to let's say 50, you will get a beautiful pattern quickly. You see, the triangles are formed quickly and beautifully. Okay. So you can also form spirals of other shapes. You make this a little less and change this angle to say 90 to get a square pattern, square spiral, colorful square spiral. Same thing, you change this angle to 72 degrees and you get colorful pentagon pattern. Okay, so now isn't it interesting? Now you can have that star shape. So for that, change this angle to 144 and repeat it. You see, a beautiful color spiral of star shapes are formed. Okay, so you can make this number bigger so you can get more stars. And if you want densely packed stars, you can change this number 10 to, let's say, 5 and see what happens. You see, a beautiful densely packed star shaped spiral is formed. So don't you like it? So we have just used a basic block called Turtle, that is a library of Python, and a library called Random, and use the code to generate a beautiful star. You can all do use this Turtle library to generate many beautiful patterns. You can see when you search turtle in Python in Google, you are going to get all the functionalities which are available with turtle, and you can log into this software called REPL and create many experimental patterns and many things you can do using turtle. So it is a fun way to learn the language called Python. So next up, we are going to stop the discussion regarding pattern making here. We have done pattern making using Scratch as well as using Python. Now we are going to make one more a little bit advanced thing, that is gaming, and we are going to design a simple game called Snakes using the earlier software, that is Scratch. Okay, so let's start our next fun gaming activity or fun coding activity, that is designing the game called Snakes. So it used to be my favorite childhood game. I don't know about you people, but most of us, I think, have once or twice played this game. So what is this game about? A snake is going to be there, which is going to move about throughout the screen, and as and when some food item is available like that in random places on the street, it is going to eat up that and its size is going to increase. When it eats up, the score increases and its size increases. But if it touches the edges of the screen, or if it touches its own body when its size grows, then it is going to die and our game is going to be over. Okay, so let's, without further talking, let's get into designing the game. Okay, so let me share my screen first. Yeah, so here you can see this one is already done. Pattern making using Python is already done. Now we are going to see the snakes game using Scratch. So we are going to use the same software which we have used for the first project of ours, that is scratch.mit.edu or Scratch. So I'm clicking on this link. You can either Google it down or you can type scratch.mit.edu on the browser itself, okay, the address bar of the browser. So the screen is not visible, so let's see how you can see it. Yeah, so now you can see I am already logged into it. So when you log in using the steps I have already shown you, you are going to jump into this screen where you can find, you can understand that you have logged in by just seeing that your name is visible here. Okay, your name, that is your user ID you have provided here, that should be visible. Then you have logged in. Okay, so before clicking the create button, let's see what we are going to develop. So click on my stuff, and here is the snake game which I have already developed for you. Let's see what we are going to create so that you have a feel of it. Okay, so let's maximize it and click on this green flag. So you see it's a snake. You can see it is hopping towards the food. If it eats up the food, the score is increasing by 1 and its size is slightly increased. You see, as and when it eats up more food, you see I forgot to click on that and my game is over. So whenever it touches its edge, the game is over. Let's see once again so that we can show you the size is also increasing. Yes. So most of us have played this game in our childhood. So it used to be a very famous game. So now you are going to see the steps how to create this beautiful game. Okay, so you see the snake size is increasing. So I would stop playing this, otherwise I am so much addicted to this game that I will end up just playing this game without making it. Okay, so let's stop our game here. So click on this red button so that it stops. Now jump into coding. So click on the scratch icon so that you come back to this beginning screen and you click on create. Okay, so this is the screen you are already familiar with. You have already seen this familiar screen. So now what first step we are going to do is delete this present character here. For that, click on this dustbin or the basket here on this icon. So it is gone. Now we need are the characters for our snake. But before that, we are going to give it a nice blue colored background. Okay, so here you can see on the bottom right corner, there is a place where it is called stage, and below that there is a circular icon. You hover your mouse over that and you click on choose a backdrop. That is going to be the background of your screen. Okay, so let's click on background and I'm going to choose this blue sky 2 background for our game. Okay, so click on this and you see the background has changed to beautiful sky blue color. Okay, so now we are going to create our character, that is the snake. We are going to create the snake using 3 square blocks. One block is going to be the head of the snake, one block is going to be the body of the snake, and one block is going to be the food for the snake. Okay, so these 3 blocks you can make using squares inside the paint software itself. So I have already made 2 blocks for it. You just have to make 3 blocks, 3 square blocks, one for head, one for food, and one for body in 3 different colors. And for one block, that is the head, you have to make 2 eyes so that you can understand that it is a snake. Just 2 dots on it. That I have already created. So I'm just going to upload them into our Scratch project. So how do you upload it? You see in the bottom right corner, this cat icon you see here, where choose sprite is written. You go to the top of it, that is, here is an icon called upload sprite. Just click on it and you go to the portion from where you can upload the different sprites. So I'm going to upload 3 blocks or sprites called here. That is the head first. I have already created here the head for you. So this is the head. So you see it is just a square block with 2 dots. You can easily create it on paint. And then you are going to upload the body. Body is also actually a square block. So that you see here it is the body. Next up we are going to upload the food. Okay, so I have already made them for you here. Yeah, so food. Okay, so 3 icons we have made, but they are very large in size. So our snake, we are going to make them very small. So click on the head icon first, and here you can see the size is written as 100. You need to make it 12. Okay, then you need to select the body and make the size as 12 again. and then you select the food and make the size as 10. The food should be a little bit smaller than the head. Okay, so we make it 10. Okay, now what we need to do is make a costume for the body. Okay, so the body looks somewhat different, okay, from the head itself. So select the body, and here at the top left corner you can see three blocks given as code, costumes and sound. So it was earlier in code. Click on costumes, and we are going to insert a costume for the body. For that, you click on this cat head icon, and here you are going to the second icon you see is upload costume. So you click on costume, upload costume, and on costume as I have already made, it will be some cage shaped, or you can say some checked shaped. You can make it of any color, that doesn't makes any difference. Okay, so I am going to use this body. I have named it as body 2. So just click on it, and you see some pattern is there. You don't have to make some pattern, you can just make it of different color. You will understand what is the utility of the costume later. So now come back to the screen and click on this code on the top left corner. Okay, so when you click on the top left corner, you come to this screen. Okay, so now we are going to make the code, write the code. Okay, all these sprites have their different codes. We are going to code for the head, code for the body, and code for the food. But first up, what we need to do is give some score, so that you have seen that there is some score whenever the head eats up, that is the snake eats up the food, the score should increase. So for that we need to create a variable called score. So here in the blocks you can see the bottom last, that is up over my blocks, is a block, orange colored block called variables. You click on it, and here is an option called make a variable. You click on it and name the variable as score. Okay, so to make a variable called score, click OK, and here you see a variable called score is created in the project itself. Okay, so as the score is created, now we are going to see how we are going to code it. Okay, so first up, there are three parts, that is head, body and food. First we are going to start coding with the head itself. Okay, so for that what you need to do is select the head sprite and then start coding. Okay, so first up what we are going to do is to check. You have seen this game is played by the four arrow keys, that is right, left, top and bottom. We are going to insert code for moving the head in these four directions. So for that what we need to do is go to events, that is this yellow colored events. You go and find out when this space key is pressed. Okay, and then you go to motions block, blue colored motions on the top, and then bring in, here you can see point in 90 degree, point in direction 90. You can see it is in the middle. You bring in and put it just below here. Now what you need to code is the four directions, that is top, bottom, right and left. So for that, change this space to when up arrow is placed, and the snake should point in the direction that is top. So you click on this 90 and make this arrow towards the top so that it becomes 0 degree. Okay, now if you see, when I click on this, the eyes of the snake is turning towards the top. You can see it when if I maximize, you can see the eyes of the snake has turned towards top. Okay, so the snake is pointing in the top direction. Okay, or the head of the snake is pointing towards the top direction. We are going to do the same coding for all the four directions. So you duplicate this 4 times. Just right click on it and duplicate once, duplicate twice, duplicate thrice. So 4 times it has already become. Now, so up arrow is already done. Now you need to make the second one as down arrow and click on this 0 and change the direction to 180 degree, to downwards. So when you click it, see the snake has turned towards downside. Okay. So similarly, you do the adjustments for right and change this angle to 90 degrees so that it points right, and this right to left, and do the adjustment and change this angle to -90. So all 4 directions we have coded. You can see, you can maximize the screen and click on the 4 arrows and see the direction of the eyes of the snake are changing. Okay, so that part of it is done. Now we are going to code it for the movement of the head of the snake. Okay, so how we are going to make the head of the snake move? So for that, we are going to start the game when this green flag is clicked. We have already seen that part in the previous coding blocks. So go to events and find out when green flag is clicked. You bring in the same slide and put the code here. Okay. Then what should happen? The snake should be start moving. But before that, you have seen in the earlier game also, we have fixed an initial position for the snake, initial position for the pencil itself in the previous pattern making exercise. Here also, we are going to give a initial position to the snake. So go to motions and give it an initial position. Let's go to X. You have to give some value. So let's check what is the origin position. Go to X0, Y0. So see, the snake is at some central position now. So we don't like the central position. Otherwise, the snake is quickly going to touch the top of the screen. So make it some place at the bottom. Okay. So let it be at the center in the Y coordinates. In the X coordinates. Make the Y coordinate a little bit below. So for that, I am using the coordinate value -160. So let's see. Now it is below. Now the snake should turn towards top. Okay. So for that, initially the snake should point in the direction, bring in the point in the direction and make it turn towards top. That is 0 degree. So now our initial position is fixed. Now we need to run the snake. Okay. So for that, go to controls and repeat forever. This is the forever loop because we want the snake to move forever. It should move always. Okay. Not any change. So for that, forever, we are going to go to the motions block and move 10 steps. Okay, 10 steps, it should move forward forever. So now click it and see what happens. The snake is moving actually too fast. So for that, we have to make the snake a little bit slow. Okay, otherwise we can't control the game. So for making it slow, what we need to do is go to control again. You bring in this, wait for 1 second here. Okay. Now play the game, see what happens. It is moving too slowly. So make it a little bit faster by changing this wait 1 second to 0.1 second. Okay. Now see what happens. Now it is moving perfectly. Okay. So now stop the game and do this. Okay. So our game is working finely up to now. Okay. So now what one thing I forgot to mention is that we should name the game something. Okay. let me here it is written as untitled. Always start with naming the game. Okay, otherwise it will be difficult for finding the game later. It is already saved in this my stuff folder, but you should name it properly. Okay, so let me name it as snake game, snake game 2, because already I have a snake game. You have seen, I have shown you earlier. So I am naming it as snake game 2. And one more thing I should do here before I start moving the snake, I should keep the here you can see the score is already 0 because the game has not yet started. But if you stop the game and start again, the score is going to start from that point only. So before any time you start the game should start with a 0 score. So for that you need to set the game score to 0 initially. When you initialize everything, that is, you give the initial position, you give the initial direction, then itself you have to make the score as 0. So for that, go to variables, go to set my variable to 0, bring it here and put it just below point in direction 0. That should be the initial setting score. So now here it is showing my variables. You click on this arrow here and change this my variable to score. So initial score is 0 now. Okay. So then the game starts and it is moving forever with each after each 0.1 second it is going to move 10 steps, and that is going to happen forever. So our snake is going to look like it is moving forever. Now what you need to do is we have to insert the condition in which the game ends. So what are the conditions in which the game ends? There are two conditions: when the head of the snake touches the edges of the screen and when head touches the body. So for that, as there are two conditions, we are going to insert a conditional variable here, that is, go to control and bring this block called if then. Okay, so bring it and put it just below the move 10 steps. Okay, as you put it in here, you see what is going to happen. This is a block in which you have to put the condition in the case when the game is going to stop. Okay, so for that we go to operators, and as we need two conditions, any either of them is true, the game is going to stop. So if for either or condition, we are going to bring in this or dash dot a dash or dash block here from the operators and put it inside the if then block. Okay, here you see, now we need two conditions. So one condition is the head touching the edge. For that we go to sensing, sky blue colored sensing, and bring in, here you see, touching mouse pointer is the first option. Just bring this one and put it in the first dash of the or and change this mouse pointer to edge. Okay, so touching edge is the first condition. What is the second condition we need? Touching the body. So we can't directly touch the body, we can change the we can sense the color of the body. So you see the second block called touching color, bring it here and put it in the second block. Okay, now we are going to select the color of the body. Okay, so you click on this color and this is the color picker option. Okay, so you click on this picker and pick the color of the body. Okay, so when you pick the color of the body here, what you get is some values which is already picked, and you see here this color is changed. Okay, so in these two conditions the game is going to stop. How the game is going to stop? You have seen I have coded that the snake should say game over. So for that, there is a second block purple colored called looks. In looks you will get a block called say hello for 2 seconds. You bring in this block and put it just inside, and in place of hello you type in game over. Okay, so game over I have typed with an exclamation mark. It looks good. Now it should say that for 10 seconds. And after that, what is going to happen? The game is going to stop. So for that, go to control again, and here you see code called stop all. Just bring this one and put it just below here. Okay. So in that case, the game is going to stop. Stop all means every action in the game is going to stop. So that part finishes the coding for the head block. Now we are going to add the code for the body part. Okay. So select the body sprite, and now how we are going to select code for the body. So first what we are going to do, we have to understand a concept called cloning. What is cloning? Cloning is just creating shapes of the same shape. Okay, so that we are going to use the concept of cloning inside body. Now what is cloning? Cloning means replicating itself only. So the body part is going to replicate itself each time the head eats up food, so that the body is going to increase in size. So that we are going to use by using the concept called cloning, or making duplicates of itself only. So let's see how we can do that. So first we need to select the body sprite. Then what we need to do is go to the events, because everything starts when this green flag is clicked. So we have coded the head when the green flag is clicked. Now for the body also we are going to code it for when the green flag is clicked. For that you have to see that first when the body starts moving, the color of the body or the costume of the body should be made to not body 2 but body 1. You are going to understand the reason very soon. Okay, so let's see, go to looks here, and change this, switch costume to body 2 here, and in place of body 2 you are going to change it to body. Okay, so when the green flag is clicked, the costume of the snake is going to be this green colored body, not this body 2. Okay, why? Because our head will be touching the body itself when the game starts. Now if we have selected the costume of the body as uh, the head touching body, when the head is going to touch the color of the body, it is going to stop the game. So if the costume is not changed initially, at the initial itself, when the head is starting with, it is going to say game over and stop the game. So that's why we are going to change the costume of the body initially to not the body 2 but the body, that is this dark green colored body. So that is the reason we use two costume. Okay, now we are going to take a forever loop inside which we are going to make the clone of the body itself. Okay, so for that go to control and bring in this forever loop. So what is going to happen? The body should always follow the head, because head moves forward. We have coded for the head. Body should follow the head always. So for that, what we need to do, inside this forever loop, we are coding for the body, so it should follow the head. So go to motions and bring in this go to random position inside forever, and in spite of this random position, go to head, so that the body always follows the head. Okay, now as it is following the head, it should make clone of itself. Okay, that is the rule. So what you need to do, go to controls, go below, and you will find create clone of myself. Okay, just put it in here. Okay, so it will be following the head, that body is going to following the head and create clone of itself only. Now next part, what you need to do is you need to code for the clone as well. So what you need to do is, when I start as a clone, you need to quickly change the body of the snake as body 2, because after it has grown as a clone, if the head touches the body, it should die. So the costume of the body should be quickly changed to body 2. So go to looks again, and here you find switch costume to body 2. So when I start as a clone, you switch the costume to body 2 quickly from body. Okay, so that the game works properly. Now, it should wait for a particular amount of time. That is, the snake is moving with 0.1 seconds break. So it should wait for 0.1 second before making a clone of itself only. Okay. So go to control, wait for 1 second and make this 1 second to 0.1 second. Okay. Then you have to relate the size of this clone with the score itself. As the score increases, the size should increase, but not with the same respect. There should be something less than the score itself. So for making that, we want wait for 1 second one more time, and we go to operators and bring in this divide operator and place it here. Okay, now go to variables and put the score here, sorry, in this divide block, and put it here and place by 5 here, so that it is waiting for score by 5 seconds, and after that it is going to delete whatever clone it is making. So some portion, so that if we don't delete the clone, that it is going to be increasing infinitely large size. For that, we are going to relate it with score and delete the extra portions of the clone. So now go to control again and bring in delete this clone at the end. Okay, so this is the code which is ready for our body part. Now we are going to code for the food. Now what is going to happen to the food? Any guesses? Can you tell me? The food is going to disappear as and when the head is going to touch the food, and one thing else is going to happen. The score is going to increase by 1. Okay, and the food is going to reappear at some random positions around the screen. So those 3 things are going to happen when the head touches the food. Okay, so let's code it now then. So select the food first, select the food icon, and we are going to code for the food. So everything should happen when the green flag is clicked. So we have used the green flag clicked for all of them. You can see for the head happens with green flag clicked, body movement starts with green flag clicked. Now the game should always start with the green flag being clicked. So for every sprite you have to code for the green flag clicked. Okay, so for the food part, what is going to happen? The food should when the head touches the food should vanish and reappear. Okay, and that should happen forever. So for that, go to control and bring in this forever. Okay, now what you need to do is bring in the control block called if then. Why if then? Because when the head touches food, that you have to bring. How you are going to bring that? Go to sensing, bring in touching mouse pointer, and change this mouse pointer to head. That means that if the food is touching the head, what is going to happen when the food is touching the head? It is going to increase the score by 1. So for that, go to variables and change my variable by 1. Okay, and change this my variable to score. So every time head touches the food, score should increase by 1, and the food should disappear and reappear at some random position. Okay, so how you do that? go to motions and go to bring this go to x dash y dash and put it here. Okay, so now what is going to happen? See, here are two x positions and y position are fixed, but we are going to make this x position and y position random for the food after the score is increased. Okay, so for that, go to go to operations, and you see pick random from 1 to 10. What this function does is selects any random number between 1 to 10. Okay, so you bring in this one for the x position and bring another one for the y position. Now we don't need 1 to 10, we need the x position anywhere on the screen. Now the screen size is actually minus 220 to plus t20, and in the y direction it is minus 160 to plus 160. So we are going to have the entire screen. For that, we are going to give the x position as minus 220 to 220 and the y position as minus 160 to 160. So the entire screen is covered, and each time it eats up, the head eats up the food, it is going to reappear at some random position. So the entire coding for our game is done. Now what we are going to do, we are going to align the body with the head. So you click on this body part and align it with the head. And remember, the head should be above the body. Okay, because body is always below the head. Okay, so you align it properly so that we can get a proper snake. Yeah. So no, not like that. Yeah, just align it. Yeah, so it is aligned with the head, is aligned with the body. Now you maximize screen and check whether the game is working or not. So first click on the green flag and see the snake is moving. You turn it, it's turning. You eat the food, so it is eating the food, and you see the score is increasing. So isn't it a fascinating game? Yeah, I slightly escaped. I was about to touch the edge and it was going to die. So let's see whether the dying condition is working or not. So the edge touching condition we can check in 1 minute. So first see whether if the size of the snake is increasing, then when it is increasing too much and if it is touching the body, it is dying or not. So let's increase the size of the snake a bit. Don't you love playing this game? I love it too much. Okay, and when you create it yourself, the fun of playing the game is 100 times more. So today, this is the last topic which we have designed. You have the three software names, that is scratch.mit.edu. This is the three software, no, sorry, two softwares. And the other software in which I have coded the the Python program is REPL.it. So you can go to these two softwares and explore them. They are very beautiful free softwares in which you can do wonderful coding things and have a lot of fun. Okay. I am I sit in the electronics department in your college. So if you have any problem or if you like my this screenshot or this games, you can come to me, and you want any more details regarding it, you can always have it from me. It was having nice to see you all. Okay, so let's see whether our game now, if the body of the snake touches, what's happening. So you see, whenever it touches the body, the game is over. You can see the edge touching also. You click it and you touch any edge, you see the game is getting over. Okay, One more thing I would suggest you. I would like you to or you do that yourself only. What is that? Is here is an icon called sounds. Okay, so here are a lot of sounds available. So here are a lot of sounds available. You can select any of the sound. There is, see, many sounds are there. So you select any of the sound which you like. You can upload sounds as well. And after that, you go to this sounds block and put some sound when the snake eats the food, and put some sound when the game is over. So I leave that up to you so that you can do a home exercise when you code this game for yourself, and you are going to love it. So I would like to end up this screencasting here only. So let's come back to our original screen. So that's our presentation is turning an ending turn now. So I would like to end my presentation with a finishing note. So the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. This is one of the famous quotes given by all our favorite childhood hero, that is Walt Disney, creator of the Disney land or Disneyland, Disney Pictures, all of them. So I would stop with this quotation. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So you just begin coding yourself. If you need any help, I am always with you. I sit in the electronics department. You can always come to me and seek help. And all our faculty members are also there to help you out. So thank you. Thanks a lot.